7-footers crew, what is happening? Welcome back. We should say that we are back. We just, we have busy lives. We got a lot of things going
I
on.
mean,
Our
let, let,
friends are
let,
all
let, let,
different
let's get
shows.
let's keep it 100. Jen is like, are we doing the pod today? I'm like, oh crap, I forgot.
Listen, we got a lot of stuff going on. Okay. Life is happening
Life
while the
is happening.
association is happening. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're always here for you guys. Don't worry. The playoffs are coming up. We wouldn't leave you hanging. Come on
Hmm.
now. Just took a
Indeed,
little
indeed.
breather. Now, let's just get right into it
Yep.
because I love the heading that you have at the top of the rundown, the Wild Wild West, because that's what it
Yes.
is. Right now,
Craziness.
the reigning champions are in jeopardy of playing the play-in tournament,
Hmm.
and it's just chaos from the 7 to 10 seeds in the West. I mean, going in order from 7 to 10, Warriors, Pelicans, Lakers, Thunder, and then
Hmm.
we'll get into the Mavs in the 11th
Hmm.
seed right
Hmm.
now. But let's talk about the West because you made a fabulous point, of course, anybody that looks at the numbers, which you love to do, that, the margins are very thin here.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-game losing streak, as you mentioned, could put these guys in jeopardy of, seed
Yeah.
slip, I like to call it.
Absolutely, Jenna. Look, so the Phoenix Suns are in 4th place right now, right? And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're in 10th. They're only 3 games back. So, I mean, 3 games separate 4th and 10th, and three and a
That's
half
wild.
separate 4th and 11th, which is out of the play-in. So, I mean, this is crazy time right now. And so, as I said to you off air, the team that goes on a 2-game losing streak, because we got teams have 7 or less games to play. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the season. So you go on a 2-game losing streak, it's gonna be tough sledding for you, And so every team that's in that position that hasn't clinched their spot yet, and in the West, the only teams that have clinched so far are Denver and the Memphis Grizzlies, who, by the way, Memphis Grizzlies have turned things around, the hottest team in the league right now, winners of 9 of their last 10. But
That's
yeah,
wild.
that is wild because I was not with the Jaw situation. Things were not looking good, but they're
Yeah.
back and playing good ball again. But everybody else still has to worry about clinching their spot, Jenna. So, and the thing is, they're all playing each other. So it ain't like just win your games, it'll be fun. You're not going to go undefeated. You have to play one another. So someone has to lose these games. So it's going to be tough, man. I just I think Phoenix and the Warriors are probably okay. The Clippers with losing Paul George, that's going to really hurt them, put a lot of pressure on Kawhi. Look, the Timberwolves have gotten hot, so look out for them. They're playing well. That Cat's back. They're looking pretty good. The Pelicans are supposedly going to get Zion back. Who knows? Your Lakers, look, AD is playing well. LeBron's back, but he's dealing with a serious injury. Who knows what's going to happen with
Yeah.
them?
Wild.
It's just tough sledding right now. So I just think guys have to really, again, you gotta win every game in front of you. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Win
Like
every
there's
game in
no
front of you.
room for a breather anymore at this point, which, I mean, hey, we're at that time of the season, but also too, I mean, like looking at the standings right now, do you ever think that um yeah. So did you ever think that you would see literally the Oklahoma City Thunder above the Mavericks? I mean, I just don't understand what is happening with this Mavericks team. Really quick, back to the LeBron James injury too. The tendon in the right foot, I think it was. LeBron James, that tendon in his right foot. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize it was that serious.
Oh, I mean, so you have 3 tendons in your foot, right? Your peroneal, posterior, and your Achilles. We know it's not his Achilles because if he tore or ruptured his Achilles, he'd be done for the season. So it's one of those other 2 tendons, right? And look, that's a serious thing. Like you just don't get better, right? Like what's going to actually help that? Not playing basketball, but he has to play basketball. So
Long postseason too.
yeah. So it's going to be tough. Look, I've not been high on the Lakers all year because I think they have a coaching problem.
Ooh, ooh,
I just do. Like,
Darvin.
yeah, I just look, everyone's like, oh, the roster, Rob Pelinka, whatever. The roster's fine. I think coaching's their problem. And so, look, the West is so, because that bottom area is so jumbled together, they might get lucky and just, and get into the play-in. But does anybody realistically think this team is going to win the play-in, get a playoff seed, like a 7 or 8 spot, and upset Everyone's like, oh, Denver doesn't want to see the Lakers. I'm like, Denver is fine playing the Los Angeles Lakers. The Memphis Grizzlies are fine playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, I just, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Two interesting notes on the Lakers. Really quick with the LeBron situation. To your point just now, like I'm not saying give up, but like
Mm-hmm.
right now, like do you guys really? If I'm LeBron and I got a serious tendon injury, am I
Yeah.
going to jeopardize that right now to try to
Well,
even make it to the first round?
this is the
That's just me.
this is the problem, Jenna. When you go all in and you get LeBron and Anthony Davis, there's no such thing as rebuilding or punting a year. Every year, the thought process from management is we're competing for a championship. Well, listen, old guys get injured, and we see what's happening. They can't do it, right? Look, it may be that one title they won in the bubble. That might be it. I just don't really see right now a feasible path where this team, currently constructed, wins an NBA championship this year.
Right.
It's just not there.
And my second note before we move on, but like I really do wonder this for real, or call me crazy if this isn't true, but the Darvin Ham coaching situation, like
Mm-hmm.
you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
no one's talking about that. Why isn't anyone blaming him like they've blamed, I don't know, name another coach, Luke Walton? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Why aren't we blame? And again, I'm not saying to place the blame on
Right,
him. I'm
right,
just
right.
saying, why isn't anyone talking about that? Because they're not.
And they should be, right? Because look, it's Darvin's first year, and it's hard, like transitioning to becoming a head coach. This is not who he is now. Is not who he's going to be forever. Like he can get better and improve and all that, but rotations don't make sense sometimes. The way he staggers minutes doesn't make sense sometimes. Like it just does not make a lot of sense. And so, and then tactically, there's some things I'm just kind of like, what are we really doing here right now? But the idea is, but talent can win out, but not old, injured, hurt talent, right? And that's what the Lakers' two best players are. I mean, 80 is not that old; he's 30, but often injured. LeBron, 38, often injured now, right? This
Yeah.
team is only going to go as far as those two playing like all NBA level players can carry them. If they're not doing, if those two are not playing all NBA level, come the postseason, doesn't matter. They're not doing anything.
Facts. I hear you. Well, let's move on. Because I spent, of course, a ton of time on the Lakers. Nothing changes. But really quick, before we get into Bradley Beal, why don't
Mhm.
we just talk about
Yep.
why the Mavericks suck right now? Because they're in the 11th spot in the West. Very, very interesting spot to be in because you're below the OKC Thunder, which is wild to me. I never thought I would say that. And also, you just got Kyrie Irving to complement your superstar. So what's going on?
Well, I'll say this quick about the OKC Thunder. This is a young team that's actually very good. Mark Daniel, their head coach, like they run good stuff, very good offensive sets. They're a tough defensive team. They shoot a lot of threes. This team is, and SGA is incredible.
Oh, so good.
Jalen Williams, this team is very, very good. Look, don't be surprised because they have 8 billion picks and all this cap space. If next year OKC pulls off some kind of move and gets a big time superstar in there and they're like ready to compete and be a contender next year, do not be surprised. That's all I'm going to say. Do not be surprised. All right, now moving on. So the Mavericks can't stop a nosebleed, right? They can't guard anybody. You traded away your best defensive player in Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, and you expect to get better on defense? They're not. They're worse. And this is not a Kyrie thing. Like Kyrie's playing well. Like
Thank God.
this isn't a Kyrie situation. The fit with Luka was always going to be difficult, but again, offensively, they're fine. They just cannot guard. And
Yeah.
this roster is devoid of athletes and athletic talent. Who on that roster do you see when you watch them plays with any kind of speed or pace, and who shows incredible athleticism on the floor? I can think of two people on that roster.
That's a great point.
Josh Green and Christian Wood. That's it. Nobody else. Well, listen, in today's NBA game, and they are second to last in the league in pace. I mean, Luke and Kyrie, amazing. But if they can't guard, they have problems. And that's a fault of GM Nico Harrison, because he's the GM and architect of this team, owner Mark Cuban, and head coach Jason Kidd. That triumvirate, I don't know what they're doing. So that is what's going on with the Mavericks. I don't think they have a direction in where they're going. I don't like how they look when they play basketball on either side. That's coaching. And the roster is just ill-fitting. That's Nico Harrison. So again, you have to ask Mark Cuban, you got this generational talent in Luka Doncic that you ostensibly want to keep happy. Well, how long before Luka starts being like, get me the hell out of here? You tried with Chris Porzingis, this didn't work. You tried with Jalen Brunson, this didn't work. You tried with Kyrie.
And this
Okay.
isn't the first time they've had drama even behind the scenes.
Correct.
So
So we shall see. But right now, Kyrie Irving is nowhere near the top 15 things that are wrong with the with the Dallas Mavericks. So, we'll see what happens with this team in the offseason and going forward. But this roster is ill-fitting and they're not being coached well right now.
hey, I can't say I disagree. So let's move on and talk about unlikely headline that I thought I would read today about Bradley Beal, Wizards star Bradley Beal, of course, under police investigation after a post-game incident after a road loss to the Magic on Tuesday. Apparently, him and the Wizards were going to the tunnel, and according to the police report, a fan yelled something that he had lost a bet. You made me lose $1,300 and said some sort of curse word or insult at him. And he approached, I think it was the fan or one of the guys with him, knocked his hat off apparently. And, allegedly, according to the police report, said that he, this is his job. He takes it seriously, XYZ. So apparently he's being under investigation. The complaint says, quote, probable cause to charge Beal with simple battery. This is, and I would be remiss if I did not mention this. According to the report, the man was heard apologizing and implying that he didn't mean to intend to offend Beal. So apparently there was an apology and there was sort of whatever an exchange. But yeah, what do you make of this? Because, to be honest, I don't know.
So
you can't put your hands on anyone. Let me say that. But damn.
No doubt. So if Bradley knocked the hat off this guy's head, and apparently with knocking the hat off the guy's head, he may have made contact with the man's side of his head or his face. And the police said there's enough there to charge simple battery. We will see if the Attorney General's office in Florida does anything and actually files formal charges. We shall see.
Yeah.
The Bradley Beal's lawyer said that they're cooperating with, all the investigation, and they expect Bradley's name to be cleared.
Yeah.
This could be something as simple as a fan realizing, oh, it's Bradley Beal, let me file charges because I can get a payday, right? Or something like that. We'll see what happens on that regard. What I will say is this, Jenna. This, to me, is the other side of the NBA, because this is the league we're talking about, but also the other professional sports leagues, getting into bed with sports books. All these leagues are and owners are clamoring for new money, new revenue streams. Here comes online gambling with their hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, give it all. We want it. Okay, well, there's an other side to that. And this is the side. And Jenna, this is a relatively low stakes situation, right? $1,300, whatever, not crazy. What happens though, Jenna, when an angry fan who bets millions of dollars loses, and maybe they catch that player outward in the out of the arena, like heading towards the team van and the team bus, and gets, who knows how fans and different people get themselves into certain areas and get close to certain areas. Gambling is a serious addiction, and people who lose big time, they go to dark places. So this is the other side of this, right? Like, and right now there's not much regulations out there in terms of what these online sports books can say and do about, deposits and matching your money and this, that, and the third. Okay, this is the other side. This, to me, Jenna, should be a warning to Adam Silver, the NBA, and the other professional sports leagues. This is the other side of this. When it escalates to a point where someone loses significant money and something jumps off, what then? So that's all.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Clearly betting and sports betting isn't going anywhere. But at least, like you said, use this incident as a tool to learn that, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe let's like up security, do small things that, like, these players or these fans can't get so close to the players. Like, and again, we're not going to sit here and dissect it, but like, you're Bradley Beal going to the tunnel. Now he has made his way out to
Mm-hmm.
clearly be
Mm-hmm.
in face view
Mm-hmm.
with these people. So, like, how are you getting this
Mm-hmm.
close? Where
Mm-hmm.
are the people stepping in? Are they not there? Is it, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, yeah,
Everything, Jenna. And look, fans have to understand. Players don't care about your parlays, your daily fantasy league. Like, they don't give a shit about any of those things. As Bradley's, this is their job. They are professionals.
literally.
This is their work. Their goal is to win the game by any means necessary. So it doesn't matter if they don't score 30 and do the thing to get you whatever. That's not what they're focused on. They're focused on wins. Okay. And so you need to be aware of that and put that in its proper context.
Right. And last note on that too, like some players might feel like they're, how some players will feel like, they're not these like caged animals in a
Right.
circus.
It's
So now
it's
this,
dehumanizing. Yeah, it's
yeah, this
dehumanizing. Yeah,
dehumanizes them even more if you think
correct.
about it. But
Correct.
again, whole podcast for another time.
Correct. Correct.
But yeah, interesting stuff right there to dive into. But let's move on because more controversy happening around the association that's not on the court. But this is no surprise to basically anybody on the internet. Chuck, Charles Barkley, and Kevin Durant going at it again. I guess Barkley was on a 60 Minutes interview recently and called Durant sensitive. Said he was a great player, but he's part of a generation who thinks that they can't be criticized. He's never looked in the mirror and said, "Man, is that a fair criticism?" Of course, KD came back on Twitter, of course, and basically said, that he doesn't respect what comes out of Chuck's mouth and that, you're still doing this, Chuck. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, of course. What do you make of this? This is an interesting thing here because, again, Chuck was saying that KD's the bus driver. He's relied on other people to win championships, XYZ, all that history between them.
Jenna, first of all, the Kevin Durant news that it's exciting is that Kevin Durant returns to play basketball reportedly tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I should have
against the
mentioned that
Minnesota
first.
Timberwolves. Right, that to me is the more important story here.
Yes, yes.
This Charles Barkley back and forth. Who's a bus driver? Who's a bus rider? Like, this is just stupid, inane conversation. Barkley's hilarious to me because he's like, "Oh, this generation of players is sensitive," as if he himself was not king of sensitivity when he would get criticized by media, like literally threatening reporters, getting in their face when they would write bad things about him. Like, Chuck, just stop. Stop with the nonsense about who's sensitive and who's not sensitive. You are the king of sensitive. Your boy Michael Jordan, who you criticize as an owner for being bad at ownership, won't even talk to you. The king of sensitivity. Like, it's just, all of this is just stupid. The problem is that old people like Chuck don't understand social media. And they're like, why you got to get back on social and say stuff? That's how people of this era communicate and talk, is on social media. Like, it's fine. The sad thing about all this, Jenna, is that there are young fans and young people coming into the NBA who may want to be fans who will never know the greatness of Charles Barkley as a player and his intellect as a basketball player, someone who understands the game, someone with an acumen that is like really incredible. Because instead, he is this character on TNT and inside the NBA where who he played for, right? All these funny things where he falls asleep, he doesn't know where guys are, like it doesn't pay attention to. It's stupid and it's silly and it's really, really unfortunate. And it's this back and forth is just, to me, it's like when I used to say, like, when Chuck like does the Draymond's triple single, like ha ha ha, and I always joke and I say, Chuck, maybe if you played with a player like Draymond Green, you might have an NBA championship in your career.
Oh,
just saying.
Ooh.
Just saying. Again, because it undervalues the contributions that other people make to winning basketball. Basketball isn't just about who scores the most points. Like that's not, there are more facets to the game, right? And so, yeah, if Chuck played with a better player like Draymond Green, he might have beaten the Bulls in 93 and won that NBA championship. But you didn't, right? Like, and part of it too is also, and Chuck will never admit this, but it's jealousy, right? Because he's like, man, Durant got 2 rings playing with all these awesome guys. I wish I could, yeah, because there wasn't free agency like that when you played, and you couldn't just decide. And no matter what they say, oh, I wouldn't have gone, I wasn't trying to beat them. Bullshit. You couldn't do it. It wasn't allowed. You didn't have free agency in that manner. If it was the way it was now, you best believe Chuck would do whatever to get to, which, by the way, he did towards the end of his career, move into the Rockets to try to win a championship. So let's not act like this is something that is foreign. And this whole idea about who is a bus driver and who is a bus rider is also stupid. Like, it's just dumb. What does that even mean? Kevin Durant was the finals MVP for 2 NBA champions. Sounds like a bus driver to me. Like, right? If you want to use that dumb analogy, it's silly. And, let's stop wasting time on it. Kevin Durant returns to the Phoenix Suns. That is a boost and a shot in the arm for them. Where they can lock in that 4th seed, right? Get home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. I know that's what they're focused on, and they're excited to have him back down in Phoenix.
Oh my God, Jarod.
It's
You should just cut that into a clip and
it's just
it'll go
stupid.
viral.
I might. It's like, it's just, and I get it. Chuck is just playing his character, but Chuck, come on, you understand basketball better than that.
It was honestly a phenomenal assessment.
Thank
honestly.
you. I appreciate that.
That what did the kids say? Put it in the lurv,
the lurv. That world famous museum in Paris.
I know. I should know how to say it.
The lurv. I'm dying.
Why am I like this? I don't want to be like this.
It's
okay.
It's okay.
I'm sure a lot of people make that mistake. I'm just the only one willing to go on camera to do it. We'll just put it up like that. Okay, let's move on before I embarrass myself further and talk about, to close this one out, the MVP race. I mean, of course, the top names in the race: Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, of course, going for his 3rd straight since Larry Bird in 1980.
80, I think Bird won 82, 83, 84.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what do you make of this? I mean, of course, it's obvious that Jokic does not care. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. What I'm saying, he just doesn't. He's not that type of guy. And neither apparently does Joel Embiid, who recently told The Athletic that he doesn't care.
Yeah, which means he cares so much. Joel Embiid cares so much and wants to win this award so badly.
What is he? What did he lose the last 2 times?
Yes. Look. Right?
And he said, "You'll hate this." I don't know if you read the whole piece.
Oh, about the analytics
He is
stuff.
not a fan of analytics.
Oh yeah. Look.
You and Daryl Morey wouldn't like that.
Here's the reality. Daryl Morey is boss, by the way.
Yes.
If you want, full disclosure, I do not have an NBA MVP vote. If I did, however, I believe today it would be Joel Embiid by the slimmest of margins, then Jokic, then Giannis in my top 3.
Yeah.
Folks, we have about 7 games or so left in the regular season. That could change. If the Nuggets just run off the rest of the way and Jokic is awesome and whatever, and Philly fades down to that, they keep that 3rd spot. They were up at 2. When they were up at 2, I was like, ooh, Philly. We'll see. Neck and neck. If you want to give it to Embiid this year, you'll get no argument from me. More than deserving and worthy. Not more than deserving and worthy. If you want to give it to Jokic for the 3rd straight time, also deserving and worthy. If you want to give it to Giannis, also deserving. They are all deserving of winning this award. This is my plea, Jenna, for we need more awards. There needs to be an NBA MVP, and then we need to have an offensive player of the year.
Agreed.
Right? We have a defensive player of the year. Why not have an offensive player of the year?
Yeah, why?
Now, sometimes, because people will say, oh, there's a scoring title. Nah, that's not it. No,
it doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. Or you call it the most outstanding player. Because in some years, Jenna, the MVP and the offensive player of the year might be the same person. They might some years. But most years they probably won't be, right? So you go value, and we have to be clear. What do you define value as? To me, value is about who impacts winning the most, right? By that metric, it is Nikola Jokic. I don't know what to tell you people. It just is. Now, if you want to go offensive player of the year award, I'd happily give that to Joel Embiid, or most outstanding player, happily give that to Joel Embiid. And I even said, if you want to give Joel Embiid the MVP, fine. He clearly wants to win it. clearly wants to win it. No matter what he says, because if you read his comments, what he actually did was take a subtle shot at Jokic. I'm not the one that's been all NBA first team. I haven't won 2 MVPs. So, the pressure's not on me. He's, that's his little shot, right? He's sending a shot.
Yeah.
Look, and Jokic could care less. He doesn't like the way the MVP conversation has devolved into, and it's stupid. Like, it really has. It's gotten dumb, and it's just, as a society and as a basketball community, we just can't enjoy fun things anymore. We can't have fun, and it's turned into these terrible, awful discussions. So ultimately, Jenna, I don't care who wins it. If any of those 3 win it, they'd be deserving.
Yeah. I will say I am happy to see the big men still in the MVP conversation, because I feel like they get slighted,
They do, but those
slick point guards
for those wing players, right? But those three far and away to me have been the best players all year. But what's really interesting, had Dame been on a better team, Lillard's having an outstanding year, but the Blazers suck. Jimmy Butler's also having an outstanding year, but the Heat, meh. Durant hasn't played enough games. Kawhi hasn't played enough games. These are all guys.
PG at one point.
PG at one point, he's out. Steph at one point. All these guys.
Tough business. That's why they call it a make or miss league, my friends. And that is all she wrote for today.
Oh, we have one quick thing. We have the Ben Simmons thing.
You see why I forgot. Well, great transition into that. Thank God. Yeah, they shut him down for the season in New York. Probably going to be chalked up as one of the worst trades ever.
This is just sad because I don't know where his career goes from here. And I also want to be clear about this, Jenna. Like, people are like, oh, Ben Simmons, bust, this, that, and the third. Look, the man was drafted number 1, was rookie of the year, a 3-time All-Star, All-NBA, and 2-time All-Defensive. That is not a bust, people. Like,
right.
Like, he's not a bust. There are plenty of number 1 picks who haven't done anything remotely close to that. Now,
facts.
Has his career not reached the heights that we envisioned for him and he envisioned for himself? No doubt. And is that disappointing? Yes. What I hope is that, 1, he gets right physically, because clearly the back is bothering him. And as someone who as I cover the Nets, I'm at Nets games. You can just tell when he played, and I would know from the minute he got on the floor, oh, bad back game. You can just see it running upright and stiff, can't bend. Like, you just see it. So if he is able to get right physically and then work to get himself right mentally, he can still be a hell of a player in this league.
He can.
Because Jenna, like, he's not old. He's 26. No? Like, he's 26. Yeah. Like, this is his physical prime. I mean, not because of the back right now, but so, we'll see. That's what I'm hoping for Ben Simmons, that he gets himself right physically.
I agree.
And then he can put himself together mentally.
Yeah, I hope he can figure it out, turn it around, get some real help for that injury, and of course mentally, because again, you went down his resume. Great guy, great player. So
no doubt.
Wishing him the best, speedy recovery as well. But yeah, Ben Simmons shut down for the season.
No doubt. Well,
now you can tell.
Now it's the end. You know where to find us: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, at Some Footers Podcast on Twitter, at Some Footers Pod on Twitter, at Some Footers Podcast on Instagram, at JS Hector, at Jenna Lemoncelli. And until next time, everybody, peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't hit back. I don't want to trap with some man going.